It's pretty safe to say that PUBG is not a graphical powerhouse. It's not going to win people over with the textures, the lighting, the depth of field, the lens flare. So a lot of these things don't really even matter if you think about it. What draws people to PUBG is the core gameplay loop, the gunplay, and the hunt for chicken dinners. So the fact that the Xbox One X has a bunch of different graphical features that the Xbox One and the Xbox One S do not have end up being irrelevant in my opinion. Now there are some players that really care about the graphics and they want the best possible textures, the best possible lighting, the best possible shadows, but most of us just want better performance, better frame rates, more stability, and that's what it looks like we're going to get in the next hotfix, which is going to drop September 18th, 2018. Earlier this morning, a community update was posted on the PUBG forums for the Xbox version of the game, and they go over a few things, one of them being the Xbox One X performance of the game since the 1.0 release. So they let us know that they're going to be toning down quite a few graphical settings on the X, including shadow quality, post-processing, which includes motion blur, screen space ambient occlusion, depth of field, lens flare, effects such as screen space reflection, refraction, subsurface scattering, particle light, and the numbers of particles created. Now, a lot of these things, I don't even know what they do, honestly. I just know that they make the game look a little bit better. I don't ever game on the PC, so none of these are usually options for me to turn on and off that I can mess around with them. And I can't bother myself to actually look up definitions on some of these just to, see exactly what they do. I know I've heard them in Digital Foundry's videos before, so I know a little bit about them, but I'm not an expert on the graphical side of video games. Either way, the Xbox One X version of the game is going to have a graphical downgrade in the next hotfix patch. They say that the resolution and textures will remain the same, as they wanted to keep the overall visual quality the same, but in order to minimize the difference, they only reduced very specific detailed graphic options. And they have a couple screenshots here of before and afters, and just at first glance, you can't really tell a difference. You probably have to zoom in to see that. I think it's just a little bit worse looking. It will probably match, what we're seeing on the S and the Xbox One as far as those graphical options go. So this is just a short-term solution. They're going to try and fix the frame rate issues that we've been having on the Xbox One X. A lot of times when you're aiming down your sights, or if there's a smoke grenade or a Molotov, the frame rate tanks completely, and it's way more than the Xbox One or the Xbox One S. So they're just trying to fix that for now, and they'll work on different options going forward in the future. But it sounds like for a long-term solution, they're working on having different options for players to choose. Probably a graphics option and a performance option. Now this is interesting because people have been screaming at the tops of their lungs for 60 frames per second for the longest time now, because that was mentioned by Brendan Green in the very beginning when the game was being released, that the Xbox One X version of the game would be 60 frames and the other two would be 30. Now we haven't heard much about that since then, but these two graphical options may hint towards something. I'm kind of skeptical myself. I'm thinking that the graphical option is going to have just better overall graphics, but you might see a dip in performance, and the performance option is going to be a rock steady 30 frames per second, but it won't have those bells and whistles that we talked about earlier. In a perfect world, we might have three options. A graphics option that has 4K resolution, all those graphic enhancements mentioned earlier, and then a performance option which strips down those graphical options and still gives you that 4K resolution, and then a 1080-60 mode. Now, this is probably a pipe dream and it's probably not going to happen, but I would love to see them downgrade the resolution and the graphics just to get this thing running at 60 frames per second on the Xbox One X, if possible. It might not even be possible at this point, but I would love to see them try. But like I said, this is going to come out in the hotfix on September 18th, which is next Tuesday. Also included in the hotfix will be a fix to the lost connection to host bug that's plaguing some of the players, as well as some additions made to the game to get prepared for war mode. As always, I'll cover those patch notes on the channel when they do come out. Now there's a couple other things mentioned here. One thing is achievements. They said, as discussed in last week's community post, we are still investigating an issue with achievements not tracking properly or not unlocking upon completing requirements. We have seen that some achievements are unlocking for players with a bit of a delay, while some simply aren't unlocking at all. This is being actively discussed with the team at Microsoft, and we hope to have a more concrete update on this soon. Now they pretty much said the same exact thing last week, so I'm thinking that they don't exactly know what is causing this. It's kind of annoying for a lot of players, including myself. I don't care all that much. It's not like driving me away from the game or anything. But for instance, I just killed somebody with a pan last night and nothing happened, no achievement. but I didn't expect one because I haven't been getting them basically at all. The only achievements that I've gotten are the initial ones that they said we were going to get from the game preview stats, and then I also got one the other day where I revived a teammate, but before I got that I had revived a teammate like 6 or 7 times, so it does seem like it's either delayed or just not happening. I've probably done 4 or 5 other achievements at this point, but I haven't gotten any of those to pop, where my friend, for instance, has gotten all of those. So it's really hit or miss at this point. If you haven't gotten your achievements, it looks like we gotta wait a little bit longer. And finally, we'll go over the update they have for War Mode. They announced that War Mode is coming out September 21st, which is next Friday. And like they said before, War Mode is only going to be available on select weekends in event mode. So if you're not familiar with what this is like, you can just look at the PC forums, or you can try and look at some PC updates. Basically, the event mode is every weekend, it seems they have some kind of different event. Whether it's a full match with only crossbows and ghillie suits, or if it's war mode or flare gun mode, or all kinds of different things that they have. Starting September 21st, we're going to have war mode on the weekend. And then once Sunday is over with, war mode will no longer be available. Then the next weekend we might get something else where it's a match where you have only crossbows and ghillie suits. And then the weekend after that we might have war mode again. So we'll just have to stay tuned and see exactly what the event mode will be every weekend. But I assume that it's going to be every weekend, kind of like how it is on PC. Now if you guys don't know what war mode is, you can check out my video. I'll have an annotation in the top right portion of the screen right now so you can take a look. It's basically team deathmatch PUBG style, where you get points for knocking and killing others and then reviving teammates. And the team that reaches the maximum score first wins. Otherwise, the team with the highest points when the time runs out wins the match. Now one thing that's pretty cool here that they mentioned, War Mode will be available for everyone at any time when the custom match feature is released in October. So this is really cool because for my streams, if we get enough players, we might be able to have a custom match War Mode of our own and just have a lot of fun. I can see that being a pretty big hit and just being fun to play around with. But that's it for the community update. I just wanted to go over those things for you. Just talk about the graphical downgrade on the X. If you have an Xbox One X, are you disappointed that you're going to have some graphical downgrades, or are you happy that this will increase the performance? I imagine that 90 or 95% of the people that play on the X and are having these frame issues will just be happy that the performance is hopefully going to be better. We probably don't care that much about the graphical upgrades. I don't know about you, but I'm not looking at the shadows. I'm not looking at the lens flares and things like that. I couldn't care less about that. I just want the game to perform properly. And in order to do that, if they have to strip down some of the graphics, I'm perfectly fine with that. PUBG isn't necessarily a game on Xbox One X that I would take pride in showing someone, oh, look at this 4K image with all these great graphic options. I'll save that for some of the other big games like Halo or Gears of War, or more recently Tomb Raider that I've been playing. Those games are gorgeous in 4K, but for PUBG, I just want it to run smoothly and not have as many performance issues. If you liked the video or found it useful, definitely give it a like and subscribe to stay up to date on everything PUBG Xbox. Remember to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. The links are in the description below. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time, I'll see you later.